Top 5 fights UFC should announce next. This isn't a wish list. It's a working map of big nights that move the US market right now. No fluff, no over-technical breakdowns. For each fight, why now, how to sell it, how it likely plays out, and what UFC gets out of it. Plus calendar packaging, backup keys, and what the winner earns the very next day. 1. Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. The BMF belt at lightweight, why now? Oliveira rebooted and went back to being the guy who shuts questions down in one night. He brought back the swagger US fans love. Fast start, pressure, cold-blooded finishing in key moments. Holloway is a guaranteed pace and spectacle headliner. His name travels beyond 145 because people tune in for big night energy. The BMF belt is the perfect accelerator. It doesn't jam the title queue, but instantly elevates this to a full main event that casuals understand. What we're selling. Clean poster line. DeBronx versus Blessed, Will versus Will. Not about standings, about owning the conversation. Put the BMF strap center post, big faces, short hook line, who takes the night, how it likely plays out. Path 1. Charles detonates the first 10 minutes, forces his rhythm, hunts a finish before championship rounds. Path 2. Max rides out the early storm, takes the center, builds rounds on volume, and steals ends. Path 3. The fight pivots in round 3. Whoever owns it probably controls the rest. Risks. Oliveira, chasing the moment too hard and handing Max the initiative to start his conveyor belt striking. Max, eating a huge early moment and playing catch-up all night. Where and when. Summer Vegas for holiday buzz, or fall at MSG where the story writes itself. What UFC gets. A main event you can explain in one line and a ready fork in the road. BMF winner either walks toward the champ or into a crossover that sells the next quarter. 2. Alex Pereira versus John Jones. The mega fight of the era, why now? Rare case where one matchup hijacks the entire calendar. Pereira is the face of knockouts. Even casual-only PPV buyers show up. Jones is the architect, the symbol of command inside the cage. This isn't just sport, it's a bet on what rules right now. One perfect shot or cold control of big minutes. What we're selling. KO artist number 1 versus the strategic genius. No complicated math. What's Pereira's ceiling? And can Jones flip the narrative again in one night? How it likely plays out. If Alex stabilizes distance, forces respect on the feet, and avoids getting glued to the fence, the night trends toward that one moment that lifts the arena. If Jones grabs center early, pins the fight to the rails, collects clinch time, and pockets minutes, you'll watch chaos get turned into order right in front of you. Risks. Pereira, extra bulk and sticky clinch minutes turning the night into an economical grind. Jones, the cost of one clean mistake against a timing punisher. Where and when? Vegas in July, MSG in the fall, or a global stadium with US TV Prime. Any of those becomes the showcase of the year. What UFC gets. The poster of the season. Both men amplified regardless of outcome, and a bridge to more mega nights across 2 divisions. 3. Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. Cross-division detonation, why now? Topuria is the new power in 145, and his charisma already outgrew the division. Gaethje is America's chaos generator. Guaranteed war in any weight. A 155 or 150 contract fight with no belt sells itself. Names, styles, and willingness to throw down. What we're selling. A young empire versus a proven wrecking crew. One-line hook for everyone. Can the Precision King stand inside an American hurricane? How it likely plays out. If Ilia reads distance fast and punishes every entry, he stacks big moments and drags the score his way. If Justin ramps the pace and forces his speed on the fight, every minute becomes a test of nerve and lungs. Risks. Topuria, paying for the jump up and letting Gaethje dictate volume. Gaethje, running into clean surgical damage on entries and losing his pressure plan. Where and when? Fall at MSG or a major West Coast arena. Perfect for big stylistic conflicts. What UFC gets. A bridge between 145 and 150 if even 2 clean corridors for tomorrow. Winner to a title lane or champion main. Loser to a fresh crossover with 0 loss of heat. 4. Leon Edwards versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. The 170 reckoning, why now? Welterweight needs a clear point. Either the king cements the throne or a new dominator takes the era. Not just another defense. It sets the division's course for the next year. What we're selling. Cold discipline and order versus the hunter who lets no one off the hook. US fans read it instantly. Who controls versus who breaks. How it likely plays out. If Leon keeps center, avoids long fence spells, and closes rounds on his terms, he arranges a judge-friendly night. If Shavkat closes the cage, steals time in contact phases, and unplugs the champ's rhythm, the blanket slides his way minute by minute. Risks: Leon, letting emotion drag him into trades where he should be counting points and denying initiative. Shavkat, believing too early he has control and giving away round endings. Where and when? New York for status or London Stadium with US Prime. Both work. What UFC gets? A clean vector at 170, either a fortified reign to plan big nights around or a new figure to headline stadiums and seed a fresh contender line. 5. Khamzat Chimaev versus Nassourdine Imavov. Middleweight contender main, why now? Middleweight needs a big night, not chained to calendar luck. Khamzat is a hype and pressure magnet who makes noise in any city. Imavov is a cold sniper who slices fights apart and has been climbing step by step. Together, they give an honest #1 contender filter without politics. What we're selling: Hurricane versus Ice. Easy frame for a broad US audience. Can Nassourdine stay calm through Khamzat's opening blitz and punish every mistake once the pace levels? How it likely plays out. If Khamzat glues the night to himself from minute one and never lets go, expect controlled pressure and a growing lead with highlight pockets. If Imavov survives early, stabilizes rhythm, and picks clean mid-range moments, the fight tilts to him on damage and round endings. Risks: Khamzat, burning too hot too fast and facing a heavy second half. Imavov, eating a huge moment early and spending the rest of the night surviving. Where and when? Vegas, MSG, or a major European arena with US Prime, France-US MENA cross-audience guaranteed. What UFC gets: a clear #1 at 185 and a ready PPV anchor for the next title defense. How to lay it out on the calendar: core rule: deliver a big pulse every 6 to 8 weeks so fans never feel a lull and revenue stays smooth. July, BMF or Pereira Jones for holiday buzz, the kind of nights casuals circle. Late August, Topuria Gaethje at MSG or in California, the perfect bridge between 145 and 155 as the US returns from summer. October, November, the 170 reckoning in New York or London with US Prime, a status stage for a belt that's interesting again to casuals. November, December, Chimaev Imavov in Vegas, MSG, or a Euro arena on US Prime to close the year with a contender main and immediately announce the next middleweight title, PPV. Why these 5 US market? These names sell wide and steady. Holloway, Pereira, Jones, Gaithye, Topuria, Edwards, Rakhmonov, Chimaev, Imavov. Seeing them on a poster expands reach beyond hardcore sport. Every pairing answers a big question without exhibition vibes. Who owns the BMF narrative? Who carries cross-division mega nights? Who rules 170? And who is middleweight's next in line? Legacy. A BMF night. Pereira Jones as the season's tentpole, a 170 reckoning, and a middleweight contender main are the bricks fans remember. A year later, they recall the nights, not the tables. These 5 give you nights. Backup keys if something falls through. Always keep plan B while preserving the poster logic. If Pereira Jones collapses, Pereira still has a cross-division option with a top heavyweight or a title night defense in his own class. Jones can pivot to another heavyweight mega main. If Topuria Gaethje slips, Ilya goes to a 145 rematch or a crossover with a striking name at 155. Justin can run the trilogy with Dustin on the same dates. The US loves that story. If Edwards Rakhmonov breaks, Leon gets a UK-US derby with a big British or American name, and Shavkat gets a marquee striker to guarantee spectacle. If Chimaev Imavov doesn't land, Khamzat can take a contender crossover with the champ or Strickland. Nassourdine can face Israel or another top 3 middleweight to keep momentum. The point isn't swapping name for name, it's keeping the hook simple. Risk, character, clear stakes. How to sell it and cut the promos, no lectures. One video, one thesis. Oliveira Holloway, who owns the night? Pereira Jones, puncher versus architect. Topuria Gaethje, precision versus hurricane. Edwards Rakhmonov, discipline versus hunt. Chimaev, Imavov, blitz versus calm. Show not only damage clips, but character. How each man stole key minutes, handled pressure, and closed rounds. On socials, tight dual sound bites. 10 to 12 seconds each side. Fight week. Minimal rankings talk, maximum why this specific night can't be missed. What the winners get the very next day, Oliveira Holloway. The right to call the name and the city, either straight into the lightweight title lane or into a max crossover if the market screams for it. Pereira Jones. Stadium anchor status worldwide and the freedom to pick the next mega Mega Main, same division or cross division. Topuria Gaethje, a direct corridor to a title slot. Ilya in a 145 or a super fight at 155. Justin in a 155 or another main versus a marquee name if the fight is pure fire. Edwards Rakhmonov, a clear 170 boss and a fresh Q, either a fortified reign or a new dominator setting the calendar. Chimaev Imavov, middleweight #1 contender, an official announcement of the next title PPV, and a locked media week opposite the champ. Why fans watch these videos to the end and turn the broadcast on, because each fight forces a choice with no gray area. Control or risk, order or chaos, belt or character. None of these pairings require a glossary or a spreadsheet. Stakes read off the poster. The feeling hits in the first frame. After that, it's the simplest, hardest thing in sports. Wait for the ending. When you can explain a product in one line, the market moves. These 5 fights give you that line. Bottom line, 5 matchups, 5 clean stories that drive the season and capture the US audience. Oliveira versus Holloway for the BMF strap. Pereira versus Jones as the era's mega fight. Topuria versus Gaethje as cross-division detonation. Edwards versus Rakhmonov as the 170 reckoning. And Chimaev versus Imavov as the honest middleweight eliminator. Lay them into the right windows, deliver a pulse every 6 to 8 weeks, and your calendar stops being a list of dates and turns into a run of events with a face, a voice, and a memory. That's the plan that works. Fans get clear stakes, fighters get clear rewards, and UFC gets rhythm.